I'm an English guy married to a Finnish lady. We actually met in France, believe it or not. I did languages at university, so I did an Erasmus exchange, an EU student exchange. So I went to a French university for 5 or 6 months, and she was on a very similar student exchange, but from a Finnish university. And I came back to the UK to finish my course, and she went back to Finland to finish her course. And when uni was done, she came over to join me in the UK, and that was 2002, so we've been together for a long time, almost exclusively in the UK. We've been lucky to have really benefited from the EU and the things it offers. Like I say, we met on this university exchange, this EU exchange. It was in place for, and still is in place for everyone to use. So I feel like we've really benefited from that kind of global mobility that's able to take us to one place and then take us to another place just almost at the drop of a hat. I feel kind of sad for other people, maybe my daughter who's going to have few opportunities to do this similar thing. And I guess another thing we benefited from as part of the freedom of movement is, we worked in Luxembourg for a year and a half, and that was just like applying for another job in the UK. Just turn up with your passport, right to work in a different country. So Luxembourg or London, it's just as easy as it would have been in the UK. So I guess we feel really lucky to have benefited from that kind of thing. So I guess for me, Brexit was a real surprise. I went to bed the evening when the votes were being counted, kind of convinced that we would vote to remain part of the Union. So when I woke up the next morning, it was a real sense of shock and surprise. And that quickly then changed into kind of disappointment, into anger. I guess just from talking to my wife about her feelings, other people's feelings going to project on somebody else. And I felt more her sense of injustice and upset. And I guess you want your partner, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your wife, your husband to be happy, and if they're not happy, then it's difficult for you to be happy. And I think the thing that I remember the most was that morning she talked about how the UK felt less like home than it did the day before. And little things like she said she feels more conscious around speaking Finnish to our daughter. So when you're out in the street, I think, I want to tone down the extent to which I use Finnish to talk to my daughter. And it's kind of crazy, surely. You've got to be able to speak in your mother tongue to your children, and if they can learn another language as part of it, then that's a fantastic thing. You shouldn't feel conscious or guilty or bad or drawing to attention to yourself by doing those kind of things. So in terms of what emotions Brexit has brought around, it's brought around a whole load, and they're all bad, none of them are good, and they're not emotions that anybody should ever have to feel, if you ask me. So I guess my main worry about Brexit is difficult to define right now. I think we're in a period where nobody really quite knows what Brexit means, and we probably won't know for another couple of years yet, but it's difficult not to think about, what's the worst possible situation, because until there's some clarity around it, then it's very easy to think about worst case. And I guess worst case for us as a family is that EU citizens, it's more difficult for them to stay in the UK, or they're actually removed. I think we'll be fortunate enough that my wife's been in the country for long enough that it won't affect us. And I truly believe that I don't think the country would forcibly remove people who've been here for a number of years and have a family group. So maybe for us we're in an okay position, but for other people it's going to be even more difficult. So freedom of movement is one of those terms you hear a lot of right now, and I guess it means different things to different people. For me, freedom of movement is just having the ability to go wherever you want, whenever you want, and for as long as you want. And I think we're in a world right now where people more and more see themselves as global citizens who don't see themselves as being constrained by national borders. And it feels like Brexit and recent events in the US mean that we're going back almost to an old world where we are being constrained by those national borders and being told that we can't go to these different places as freely as we'd like to and as freely as we could have in the past. So that for me is what freedom of movement really boils down to, just the ability to go wherever you want, whenever you want, and with whoever you want.